Okay. Go.
My name is Lily Welch, and I read the book My Ham. My Ham was a professional soccer player in the women's division, and when she was little, her father was in the Air Force, and they had to move from the United States to Italy. And in Italy, the only sport they played at the time was soccer. And a lot of people in Italy thought that soccer was not a women's sport because it is very physical and you have to push people. And so they went to their first soccer game, and while Maya was watching the game, she got very interested and started running after the ball from the sidelines. And her father asked Maya if she wanted to do soccer or ballet, because her mother was a ballerina and her mother wanted her to do ballerina, but Maya told her mother that she did not. So her father started reading every book he could to try and learn everything about soccer to make her the best player she could be. Maya Ham was born on March 7th, 1972, and is still alive today. She has written a bunch of quotes to inspire people. One of the quotes that she wrote was, "The visible of a champion is bent over, crying, sweating, at the point of exhaustion when nobody else is looking," which means she was trying to encourage people, no matter what you're going through, keep trying, keep pushing to be the best person you can be, and always do your best and believe in yourself no matter what anybody tries to do, if they try to tear you down or anything.
I wrote my biography on Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. He was born in Oak Park, Illinois in 1902. Sadly, he died in 1984. Ray Kroc, when he was a kid, he was outgoing, and he did lemonade stands. And as he got older, he got into selling things. He began selling paper cups to fast food restaurants and then became their best seller. And then as he got older, he got into the ribbons, and he went from state to state to continent selling ribbons. And then the multi-mixer. When he was selling to the restaurants, his friend made the multi-mixer, makes 8 milkshakes at a time, and he quit the ribbons and he got into the multi-mixers, continent to continent selling them. And then he got into the business with the McDonald brothers. And then as they went on, they decided to open the first ever McDonald's. And then, Ray wanted a chain of restaurants, but the McDonald brothers didn't, so they agreed to give him a percentage of the earnings and he could run the stores. And he started off the first McDonald's restaurant like 10 cents a burger. And then as he got older, he had chains and chains of the McDonald's fast food restaurant. And then as he got older, he started getting into baseball, and then he bought a team. And when they made it to the playoffs, he sadly passed away at the beginning of the season, so he didn't get to see him play. But Ray Kroc, he was outgoing, and he was there for the first ever McDonald's to open in Germany.
Hello, I'm Dylan Gardner, and I am reviewing the book Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was very persevering. As a young girl, she was always singing and playing the guitar, while other kids were playing outside. She was playing the guitar until her fingers were bleeding. She always wanted to be a songwriter, and she asked her mom to go to Nashville, and when they did, she applied to every single store brand that could sell her music and got into one for a membership, but she was just an intern. And she did not think she would get there into big business until she was 20. So she left and went to a very small one that she applied to, and started making music there. Put this into mind that she did all this when she was 13. She started when she was super young and became so successful. She's an original songwriter who continues with the ages. My favorite songs by her were made in 2008. Romeo and Juliet were a really good one. And she's a very persevering person, and I think a lot of people should be like her because she always kept going even when people put her down.
So this is my biography poster report from Rosa Parks. She was a civil rights person. So once she was like walking or something, she decided to go in the bus, and that time there was like white people and black people, that it was like racist and stuff like that back then. So she sat down, but the seats were for the white people, but for the bars that were in there was for the black people. So she decided not to give her seat, but she got arrested because she didn't give up her seat and yeah.
My name is Daniel Halsey, and I read the book Tom Brady, An Unlikely Champion. When he was about 13, he was watching football with his father, and he decided he wanted to play football. When he was in high school, he played football, but he was a receiver, and he didn't get played very much. And then he was then promoted up to a backup quarterback and played one game during that season. He was a 3-time Super Bowl winner as of 2009, and he still plays football today for the Patriots.
My name is Eli Frazier. My name is Eli Frazier, and I read the book Rocket Man, who is about John Glenn. When John Glenn was 8 years old, he took his first plane ride in a biplane, which is one of the planes with wings here and then wings on top. He knew from that age, at 8, that he wanted to fly planes for a living. So when John Glenn grew up, he signed up in college for a flight school, and then later signed up for the Marines so he could go into war and fight. When he was older, NASA was formed, and they took many of the daring many of the pilots who tested planes to go into space for them. John Glenn was one of the favored ones to go into space first, but was not sent into space because he was one of the older of the astronauts. He went into space as the third American ever to go into space and the first American to orbit Earth. He orbited Earth 3 times and did many tests for NASA, and that was John Glenn.
Hi, I'm Avery Lloyd, and I wrote this biography about Helen Keller. And when she was little, she was a very happy and playful child. But when she turned 2 or 3, she started not reacting to things and started not reacting. And she went to the doctor, and she found out that she was actually blind, deaf, and she couldn't talk because she didn't know how to. And although she was still deaf and mute and blind, she still proceeded to be a famous writer and publisher, and she wrote famous quotes about, like, one of her quotes was, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." And she became to be a famous writer. And yeah, that was Helen Keller.
My name is Rebecca Klein, and I did a biography report about Michelle Kwan. She was a star figure skater. When she was going to try out for the Olympic team, she ended up breaking her ankle,
and she still went out for it. Luckily, though, her ankle had healed before the Olympics, and she had ended up making the Olympic team. And she's been skating for 26 years. She started at the age of 14, and she's a great figure skater. She's 40 now, and she was born on July 7th. And she was really, she persevered a lot. And even when she fell performing her triple Lutz during the Nationals, when she did that, she got right back up and kept on skating. And then the next one, when she was skating, she showed her maturity on the ice, that she could actually do this, because a bunch of people have doubted her. So she really liked to persevere and show people that she could do things that they said that she couldn't. And she's inspired me a lot, and I might want to try figure skating, and that's Michelle Kwan.
And I did my biography report on Kobe Bryant. He started playing basketball at the age of 6, and his dad was in the NBA. Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. He had to move to Italy because his dad had retired from the NBA and got an offer to play pro basketball in Italy. So Kobe grew up around pro basketball his entire life. And when he moved back to America, he was in 8th grade, and he had made the high school team. And all of his life he had dreamed of being in the NBA, so he went to the NBA straight out of high school and became one of the greatest players to ever live. He was born on, it didn't tell me the date of his birth, but he was born in 1964, and he died recently this year. And that's all I have on Kobe Bryant.
My name is Stephen Brown, and I did a book report on Stubby the War Dog. And this dog named Stubby was a dog from World War I that the military found and didn't have a clue where it came from or when it was born. Stubby became friends with his future owner, James Robert Conroy. Stubby kept close to him and ate scraps from the mess hall. He was a well-trained dog and very well behaved. Once his master Conroy taught Stubby how to salute, and not soon after, he snuck Stubby onto the train, and then they were off to war. And during the war, the enemy team began launching missiles, and Stubby would hear them coming and warn everyone to watch out. And once Stubby captured a soldier all by himself. Then some ladies in the town helped make Stubby his own vest, and soon after, Stubby's vest was over 10 pounds because of all the medals he had received. Then Stubby and Conroy retired from the Army, and finally, a few years later, Stubby died in 1962.
My name is Ethan Durham, and I read the book on Kobe Bryant. He was born in August of 1978. When he was a child, his dad, Joe Bryant, was in the NBA, so they moved to Italy so he could play in Italy for the NBA. So Kobe Bryant saw lots of basketball games, learned new languages like Italian, European language, and his dad was nicknamed the Jelly Bean, and his dad played for the Philadelphians 76ers. It was a great time for Kobe. He got to go to many countries in Europe. When Kobe was older, in high school, he played basketball for the Lower Merion high school basketball team. Kobe wanted to learn to dunk, so he practiced and practiced until he could dunk like a champion. Soon he became the best high school player in the country. Kobe skips college and joins the NBA. In February in 2020, Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash with his 9-year-old daughter.
My name is Kaylin Smith, and I read the book Morris and Buddy. It's about a story where his mom became blind when she was little. And when he was little, he loved boxing. And one night he went to his boxing and someone punched him in his right eye. And he became blind in it. And then a couple years later, he got a dog, and his name was Buddy. And
My name is Aiden Kavanaugh, and I read the book Who Was Neil Armstrong? He was born in Ohio in 1930 and died in 2012. When he was younger, he dreamed of having an airplane, and when he was older, he eventually did. And he was also the first man on the moon. He was in Apollo 11. One of his famous quotes was, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And what year is this? In 1960 or 1959, he had a daughter with his wife Jen, and Karen was his daughter's name. She fell on the concrete, and 2 years later, about a month later, the doctors found out she had a cancer tumor, and she died in January of 1962.
My name is Maddie Conway, and this is a biography about Katy Perry. Her real name is not Katy Perry. It is Catherine Elizabeth. She started singing at her church at 15. She moved to Los Angeles, and she started working with a guy named Glenn Ballard. And she released her first song, and she released her first ever song in 2007, and she got a lot of fame for it. Everyone loved her, and she had a lot of belief in herself, and everyone used to make fun of her for liking and playing guitar and all this stuff. And her mom she was born in a Christian home, so she couldn't listen to music that she wanted to, so she started sneaking in disc and listening to music, and her mom kind of got on to her until she realized that she was really good at singing. And when she got married with an actor named Russell Brand, and she was born in 1984, and she hasn't died, and she's still here today, and she has a lot of fame, and she is a good artist.